morning, Scotland. Good morning, social media land. I hope you are well. It is Tuesday, the 28th of January, 2025. What has the Union actually done for Scotland? For decades, we've been told that the Union is essential, that it is the foundation of Scotland's success. But when we look at the facts, the Union's contributions to Scotland seem more like a bad joke than a gift. Scotland's wealth has been exploited, its people ignored, and its opportunities stifled, all while Westminster pats itself on the back. Unionists, however, defend this system as though it's something to celebrate. They must be proud of how effectively the Union has taken Scotland's resources, suppressed its identity, and held its people back. Let's just explore how much the Union has really done for Scotland. First, let's talk about our economy. Scotland's one of the most resource-rich countries in Europe, but instead of using that wealth to build a secure future for Scots, Westminster has treated Scotland like a cash cow. Scotland's oil reserves were worth hundreds of billions of pounds, and we know that Norway, with a fraction of the UK's population, invested its oil wealth in a $1 trillion sovereign wealth fund. We speak about that quite frequently. But this ensured Norway's economic security for generations. Why couldn't we do that? Well, because the Union, Westminster, used Scotland's oil to prop up its own budget and fund its own tax cuts for the wealthy. But I say that Scottish Unionists must love this arrangement. They must love knowing that all that money from all their wealth and resources in their own country is going to fund something else. But it is not just oil. Scotland also is a global leader in renewable energy, producing almost 100% of its own electricity from clean sources. This is something else we are proud of as Scots. But yet Scotland doesn't see the full benefit of this success. Also, I don't know if you know this, Westminster is building a massive superconductor set of cables to transport Scotland's renewable energy from the northeast and down the east coast, south into England, not even touching land in Scotland. And this will fuel their economy, not Scotland's. Going to be proud of that, eh, Scottish Unionists? They took our oil, now they're going to take our renewables. Meanwhile, Scots face some of the highest electricity bills in the UK. We generate the energy, Westminster takes the profit, and Scots get stuck with the bill. Love it. And then there's the myth of the Barnett formula. Scottish Unionists love to claim that Scotland is subsidised by the UK, as though we should be grateful for Westminster's scraps. But the truth is, Scotland consistently contributes more to the UK Treasury than it gets back. The so-called Union dividend is nothing more than a con to keep Scots feeling dependent. If anything, it's the other way around. Westminster is subsidised by Scotland. Scottish Unionists must love this, a narrative that belittles their own country. Now let's have a quick look at how proud Scottish Unionists should be with Westminster's policy failures. Over the past decade, Westminster's austerity agenda has devastated Scotland's communities. Public services have been slashed and thousands of Scots have been pushed into poverty. Policies like the bedroom tax and universal credit cuts have disproportionately harmed Scots, forcing many families to rely on food banks just to get by. Food banks. In a country like Scotland with so much wealth and potential, we have food banks. Are you proud of that? Stick a Union Jack on every single food bank. Wave them outside. We should be proud of that. We should be so pleased that we have food banks. In fact, we should be so proud that we should ask the King to come up and visit a food bank. Wait a minute. Of course, then there's that nugget, Brexit. We know that Scotland voted overwhelmingly to remain in the EU. 62% of us did. But Westminster dragged us away anyway. The consequences have been disastrous. We know that fishing, farming and small businesses have all suffered so badly from new trade barriers and the loss of EU support. But Scottish Unionists must be thrilled to see Westminster override Scotland's will and devastate its industries. That's a good thing, isn't it? I mean, it really, really is. Brexit isn't just an economic disaster. We said yesterday that it's a democratic insult. It shows that in this union, Scotland's voice does not matter. We should sit down and shut up. Why would anyone choose to support a system where Scotland's decisions are meaningless? And it's not just our economy and democracy that suffered. We mentioned yesterday about our culture. The Westminster obsession of promoting centralised British identity often comes at the expense of Scottish culture. You see it on the food, don't you? Little Union Jack, made in Scotland. Unionists must find this arrangement comforting. It's easier to fit into Westminster's narrative when Scotland's distinctiveness is erased. And we all know that the union has exploited our resources, it's imposed policies that have harmed Scotland's economy and its people, and it's worked to suppress Scotland's culture and identity. But still, Scottish Unionists defend the union as though it is a lifeline. So what has the union actually done for Scotland? It's exploited our resources, it's imposed policies that have harmed Scotland's economy and its people, and has worked very hard to suppress Scotland's culture and identity. Imagine what Scotland could have achieved if decisions were made here, not in Westminster. All of the decisions, every decision made as we keep all of our revenues, spending all of our money in Scotland. Imagine a Scotland where our resources are used to benefit our people first, where renewable energy profits stay in Scotland, reducing the energy costs for Scots and creating more jobs, where industries like fishing and farming thrive as part of the EU, and where Scotland's culture and identity are celebrated, not sidelined. The Union has had centuries to prove its worth, and it has failed. And it is time now to move on. It is time to recognise Scotland's future lies with independence, not in a union that holds us back. So the next time someone tells you that the union is essential, ask them this: why do you support a union that suppresses your ability to thrive, your country's ability to thrive? You'll probably get an answer that is filled with sound bites and nonsense. Thank you for watching. Join us tomorrow where we'll be continuing this conversation.
Sold our oil, they sold our seas, turning our wealth to their own fees. The mines are closed, the steel is gone, they rob the future we built upon. It's not a shame, it's the union's shame. They took the power and left the pain. They chose the path that kept us small. It's time to rise and stand for all. Broke the trust, privatized what once was just. Our homes were sold, our pensions bled, while Westminster thrived, we were misled. It's not our shame, it's the union's shame. They took the power and left the pain. They chose the path that kept us small. It's time to rise and stand for all. chose, turn blind eyes while hardship rose. Our riches stolen, our voices stilled, but now's the time to rebuild. Decisions made so far away have held us down, led us astray. But Scotland's strength will lead the way. The future's ours, we'll seize the day. It's not our shame, it's the Union's chain that took the power and left the pain. They chose the path that kept us small. It's time to rise